funny shoes. We cop a lot for them, but they really are the best thing in the world.
Yeah, just the best. Yeah.
Barefoot. We talk about it a lot. It's one of our favourite things.
Care about it a lot. This is probably not going to be very good random thoughts because I think we might care too much.
Yeah, we're too passionate.
Lower your expectations.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But let's talk about why barefoot is good and why it's such a thing that's probably going to get bigger.
Yeah, I think it's going to get huge. I'd like to put out a little caveat first though. We're not suggesting people play contact sport barefoot or in minimalist shoes. And we're not suggesting that people just run out and start wholesale barefoot running everywhere. This is it's just a change in emphasis, I think that's just to put that out there.
And if you are going to make a transition to barefoot, you need to be patient. And you need to do it over a very gradual months.
Probably 6 months.
Year type thing before you get to a level where you're quite more regularly in barefoot than in shoes. Especially if you spent time in a heeled shoe or in a sneaker, a controlling shoe, if you will.
So I think for me, the argument for barefoot or for minimalist footwear, forcing the foot to get stronger, appropriate to get better, all that stuff. I think the argument is made best against cushioned, highly supportive. To me, it just didn't make sense that we've evolved with this incredible spring mechanism of the feet, Achilles, calf, this amazing evolutionary feature that our bodies have.
Yeah, compare us to the chimpanzees. We've got these tiny little toes, which are great for pushing through the ground and getting the toes up. We've got this Achilles that's like a rope.
It's amazing.
Which 30%. It's you
get 30%
return on your energy input for free, just based on the elasticness of the Achilles. And then we've got these glutes, these massive, powerful glutes, which do nothing when you walk or when you climb stairs, but as soon as you start running and your hip extend, they just light up and they start working like there's no
And which in an evolutionary thing, like the apes don't have. They're all flat.
Yeah. We evolved to run. We evolved to be upright and running.
Yes. And I forgot the name, the
nuchal ligament in the back of the head, which keeps your head upright, and so it's not wobbling around.
Which is an unusual thing that we have compared to...
We have it, dogs and cats have it, so lions and stuff like that, so when they run, monkeys and chimps do not, so we're the only primate with that ligament.
It's really cool. Yeah. So when you think about all the features you've got to run, and then you look at what the modern running shoe does, it enables you to run in defiance of those features. Enables you to do this heel strike, this plodding jog.
Where you're reaching out in front of the body instead of pushing it away from you,
So for me, I read about that a bit. A friend of mine had talked about it, and I went out and I bought a pair of the toe shoes. And the toe shoes feel amazing.
They're phenomenal. They're the best thing I've ever had on my feet.
Yeah, sure. They're incredible, but they look ridiculous. And I spent, because I just thought, if I just wear them enough,
people will come on board.
So what was that? Was that 3 years ago?
Yeah, so up to 2 years ago. So I've been here for 3 years now. It would have started. Yeah. And then over my first 12 months.
And then just people teased me mercilessly, and eventually we started wearing.
Well, let's talk ingrown toenails first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I got on board with the Vibrams, the toe shoes with the separate toe pockets. Wore them like crazy, best thing ever. Feel the ground, was running like the wind.
And they allow your toes to splay.
And you can spread and you can feel the ground. And I got ingrown toenails on both sides of both big toes.
Which I did too.
And then I had to have the surgery and get it cut out. It cost me 2 weeks of training, and it's a thing. It hurts.
Mine's quite painful. I got dosed up with I did it local, and I got dosed up with the anaesthetic. And about 2/3 of the way through the process, I said to the podiatrist that I can actually feel it. I know that's impossible. You're full to the brim with anaesthetic. So he's like, you've got a fast metabolism. Like I just burnt through that anaesthetic, and that was not fun. Yeah.
But anyway, so we went toe shoes, and now we're in these guys.
Yeah. And this is just really what this is High Vivo. Not a product placement, but it is a product placement. These guys make a beautiful shoe that I love.
It's the best barefoot I've been in. I've been in a few now, and it's by far my favourite one. My fourth pair.
Both my kids have never worn anything except for Vivos. I've got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And you've seen Max run.
Pretty.
He runs beautifully.
For a 6-year-old, he runs real nice.
Because he's never had the luxury of having a heel strike. He's always had to learn to get that nice midfoot.
Because if you run with a heel strike in bare feet, it hurts. Yeah. You can't do it without the cushioning of a shoe.
Like in a perfect world in the gym, every time someone did a bad movement, somehow they'd get like tasered. There'll be some feedback
Slap
loop
them in the face or something, yeah.
There'll be something that just really encouraged a very rapid physical feedback loop that encouraged excellence. And I think the lack of a cushion is, because if you run badly, it just hurts.
Yeah. We sometimes have our kids go down barefoot to do a couple of jog throughs just to get a feel for it.
Yeah. And
they'll go 3 steps and they'll be straight up onto their midfoot.
Yeah, you don't have to coach it.
No, it just happens.
Yeah. So so I did the reading and I thought this is an amazing idea. I went out and bought a pair of the toe shoes. My feet were cramping after the first 2 hours. The intrinsic muscles of my feet started to cramp. And I had DOMs for 3-4 days just from that shift, because my feet had been in these sort of
foot coffins.
I've been wearing a big structured shoe, right?
With the heel to toe drop and cushioning and arch support and all
yeah,
that
all
stuff.
But what I noticed immediately, because we'll do a long hour Saturdays, often
9 hours. Yeah.
9 hours standing or walking, like you're on your feet the whole time. And previously I'd go home and I'd like lie on the couch and just sort of kind of beg my wife to bring things to me because my feet were so sore. And what I noticed within a couple of weeks, my feet were just not sore anymore. The calves were a bit sore, the feet, I had some DOMs at the start as I adjusted, but it really changed that. And then I was like, oh, well, you had me at not sore feet at the end of a Saturday night. Like I wasn't even particularly thinking about all the other benefits. But then when we started running in them, it just felt so different. Like, yeah.
So when we run, let's talk running for a bit. With a running or not quite sprinting, we're talking a little more distance running type stuff. You're designed to land mid-foot strike directly under the body, so that you're landing under the center of mass. There's minimal deceleration, and then you're pushing back using the glute. So you're hip extending, using the calf to absorb the load, and then pushing with the glute to get into your next stride. The cushion shoe in the heel allows you to reach with the hamstring, land on the heel, roll through, and then drag the ground back from behind you. So you've got a braking force, huge ground reaction forces, 6 to 8 times body weight through a foot, up through the heel, rolling through, and then pulling. Legs typically straighter when you land like that, so you've got a jarring force going up.
You see it in slow-mo, yeah.
Up into the shins, into the knee, up into the hips and the lower back. So 70% of all Australian runners, joggers, will be injured in a 12-month period.
Amazing. You reminded me with shins too. So we think of your tibialis anterior, which is the anterior shin splints muscle. Its job is to lift the foot up and provide clearance. And then
dorsiflex the foot.
Dorsiflex the foot. And then also it works eccentrically to slow down when you're walking, to slow down so you're not going into the ground. If you take that to high speed, you've got this tiny little muscle. Like it would not make a good meal. It's a tiny muscle doing the job of decelerating a massive impact when you're doing running. So it's just never designed to do that.
Which your calf, however.
Yeah. So I noticed someone on Instagram liked our thing last week, and their business is an eccentric strengthening. It's like a thing that you hook your foot in, and it just works to basically strengthen tib-ant.
Oh wow!
And so that's a solution to kind of I wouldn't call it a band-aid, but it's a solution to get around the heel stroke.
Yeah,
things that was interesting. Yeah.
Some wrap up.
So I think for kids particularly, I think it's super important to allow them to have a shoe that keeps their feet, their toes can spread and not become shoe-shaped. They can actually be a foot-shaped foot.
Not a shoe-shaped foot, yeah.
And then learn to run and move using their natural elasticity, that those evolutionary features that we were
talking about. Yep.
Are there. And I think for athletes, I think everyone should be trying to ever so slowly move themselves along the continuum to at least be getting some work that is stimulating the intrinsic muscles of the foot and starting to repattern them to use that good patterning that we naturally have. But crazy. Tell about the
Blaise Dubois Physio Edge podcast. I'll link that below or above. Blaise Dubois is an incredible physio. He's a podiatrist as well. He works with a lot of barefoot running stuff. His recommendation for a runner is if you run typically 30 minutes a week or 30 minutes a session, that you start with your barefoot shoes and you do 1 minute in that first week. So first run is 1 minute barefoot, 29 minutes of back into your, as he calls them, big bulky shoes. And then you go the next week, so that's however many runs you do. If you do 2 runs a week, so the first 2 runs are like that. Next week, you go 2 minutes, and then 3, and then 4. So you ease your way into it and slowly start with your barefoot stuff.
Can you tie that in? I'm so annoyed that I keep forgetting the name. The gymnastic strength coach.
I've forgotten his name as well.
We'll put that in the thing as well. I think he's an interesting thinker. He was talking about the time it takes to turn over your collagen and whatnot.
Muscles take 20, depending on the level of intensity, they take 24 to 48 hours to adapt.
Yeah.
Your collagen, however, so your ligaments, your tendons, cartilage, all that sort of stuff, that takes more like 72 to 96 hours. It's on a slower, tendons are on a slower regeneration
supercompensation
cycle than muscles.
Yeah.
So the muscles can deal with the load of training, every second day, but your tendons and your ligaments can't. And so from your Achilles tendon, all the ligaments and the plantar fascia of your feet and tibialis posterior with your shin splints and your patella tendon, that can't keep up with that much running, so it takes longer. So you need to be a bit more patient when you start something new.
I found that was generally, I didn't run, if I tried to run more often than once every 96 hours, it didn't feel that great. Like 72 to 96, definitely not a 48-hour thing. And there was also the long-term turnover in terms of changing your structures. So I think part of the reason Blaise Dubois promotes that idea of that really gradual change is that in terms of turning over all the cells in your Achilles, that's actually taking 6 months or something ridiculous.
Yeah, 150 to 210 days, something like that.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the number,
and so you're allowing time for that to happen before you really start to...
Yeah, so it's actually got its elasticity and its reactivity back before you really load it.
The other thing I saw, just right, I saw Alzheimer's, I keep forgetting the names of all these people. It was a sprint coach, and what she was talking about was how she's actually not very fit, but she was able to keep pace with a whole bunch of very fit soccer players because she had great efficiency. So she could run around at a decent clip at a point which they were all puffing and panting. And because she was taking advantage of that 30% rebate,
Achilles return, yeah.
So she could actually keep pace really well with almost no effort. And they were really shocked at how effortless she was at a speed. It's quite a game-specific speed. Like you could use that to get around a soccer pitch with almost no effort. So it's a great hack to make yourself more efficient. So then you've got that energy for when you need it to really
accelerate and create.
Yeah. Yes, it's not just a jogging thing. It's not just a sprint thing. It's also a striding thing, like a sub-maximal sprint to have that nice efficiency. And you'll get better at that if you've learnt the positions, I think, in Barefoot.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah, cool.